Peppermint, welcome to Hot Tea with Friends. Now, I'm going to go through an introduction, even though you do not need an introduction, but you are an iconic performer. You were the runner-up in RuPaul's Drag Race. You're the first openly trans woman to originate a principal role on Broadway, an incredible advocate for the LGBTQ community. You're a recording artist, a reality TV competition star. You have a new documentary coming out called A Deeper Love, which we will talk about, featured in 2 seasons of Netflix Survival of the Thickest, and a creator of a tea brand right here. Peppermint, tell us, what is the tea that we will be drinking today?
Well, Jim, the tea that we're drinking today is called Transcendence. This is the specialty pack, the collector's edition, the tin, and then it's the paper one there. It is a blue vanilla mint tea.
Ooh.
It's a deep blue vanilla mint tea. Thank you so much.
Oh, look at that color.
Honey, honey, honey.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Yes, it is.
So it's peppermint and vanilla.
It's peppermint, vanilla, and a little bit of rooibos.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
So how did this come to be? How did you actually get to have a tea brand?
Well, you know, I love tea. I drink tea all the time. I'm a tea drinker, not a coffee drinker.
Okay.
And so tea is my drink of choice. I love all kinds, and I love all kinds of tea, but I mostly love herbal teas that are non-caffeinated. And so that puts me in the category of peppermint, which is my favorite flavor tea. And I wanted to do something. I was like, I want to do like a t-shirt or like some kind of, I don't know, hair gel. I want to do something that I like really use and do. And so I partnered with a wonderful tea company called Moody Tea, which is a small queer-owned, Black-owned tea company based out of Chicago. In addition to being tasty, it gives back to the community. Tea. It is a portion of every sale goes to Advocates for Trans Equality, which is a national organization that helps with the trans community with important things that they need, like getting their documents, legal services, passports, IDs, which are a big thing. That's all happening right now. And so it felt like the best, a no-brainer.
Oh, that is good. That is, ooh.
Yes, darling.
You gotta taste this. It is so good.
Oh yeah, taste tea. Taste that tea.
That is really good.
Oh my God.
Yes, honey.
You have been such an incredible advocate for trans rights, LGBTQ rights, also just general human rights, right? Like when did that happen? Like when did you start to feel this call?
I think officially-ish, it was probably around marriage equality.
Yeah.
Where I really was able to like put something into action.
Yeah.
Even small things. Because I remember getting up in drag and walking across the Brooklyn Bridge in a wedding dress for marriage equality. And it was like so exciting, but also like the most depressing thing because I was like, I'm not getting married. Like I ain't got anybody asking me to get married, but here am I roaming around the city looking for, in a wedding dress, looking, well, I don't know.
Yeah. I love that image. It's like a weird rom-com, right?
Yeah,
where you're like,
will you marry me, please? I'm desperate. But that was like of course that was like a symbolic thing. It was a march.
Yeah.
But then after that, I went to several rallies and, raising money and things like that. Partnered with HRC and eventually GLAAD.
Yeah.
In just over the years in different capacities. Hosted the HRC gala several times. And so that's where I was really able to sort of like sit and look at, okay, like these are people that are passionate about the issue. We're also going to raise money and take action if we can. And so that's when officially started. But unofficially, my mom told me, I didn't even remember this, but now that she did, I remember the feeling. I was in like 2nd grade maybe.
Okay.
And I had a teacher, I don't remember who, some teacher. And long story short, I rallied all the kids to sign a petition to say that the Black kids in this class are not being treated fairly. And so we presented this petition, but the real tea is that I had all of the white students sign their names at the top.
Oh my
because
God.
I obviously recognized that they had some power in that situation. So I manipulated the situation and got everybody to sign the entire class signed the petition, and the white students were at the top and the Black students were at the bottom of the list, just adding their name.
Yeah.
And I don't think anything changed.
Yeah.
We still got racism up in there. But I didn't know that. My mom remembers. I guess the teacher must have told my mom. I don't know.
It's been inside you since you were a little kid that you were like, I got to make a difference, right?
I guess. Yeah.
That's so great. That's awesome. And we're going to learn more about this because you have a documentary about you called A Deeper Love. Like, what? It's beautiful, by the way. I saw the trailer and I was like, oh my God. Tell me about this. How did this come to be? Where is it going? How can we watch it?
Oh my gosh. Well, it started with just the urge to record some of my drag performances.
Okay.
And so I wanted to record some drag performances. And I had a close friend who is the director and producer, Oil Pierre, who was also a regular at a lot of my shows. Okay. So he was already there. I was like, honey, turn that camera on. And, and he was also, we had worked together on a couple of my music videos and some other things. And so it just was it seemed like an easy fit.
Yeah.
And so I asked him, would you record? And then he was like, well, let's do some stuff during the day when you're not on stage, just show a little bit more. Let's do a short. And I was like, okay, a short film. So we started a short film, and then the short film turned into a feature film. And that was now 10 years ago that we started filming all that.
Oh my God.
And it just so happened that we were filming for a little bit, and then I got RuPaul's Drag Race. And then instead of just recording me at my drag shows in New York, which is obviously where I live and worked, he followed me to other countries and around the world and on tour.
That is incredible, because like the intimacy of that experience of what it is to be Peppermint, but then also get to see the real you, right? That's what we're going to see in this, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously there's the glitz and the glam, but then some ups and downs and some big moments, even throughout while I was on Broadway.
Yeah.
And then obviously coming along and sort of getting a backseat to some of the advocacy that I do.
Yeah.
And so the film is edited, it's finished, and now it's making the rounds in the film festival circuit.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we premiered, the world premiere was in San Francisco of all places, which is great, but like, I don't really have a
connection.
People might not think of me when they think of San Francisco.
Right.
But it was a wonderful experience. We had a great audience, and we screened here in New York for New Fest. We screened, we've been screening all around. I mean, just at this point, I can't even think of, just all over the country and internationally.
Oh, wow.
Just in Paris.
Yeah.
And so there's a few more that we're going to try to hit.
Yeah.
And then we're putting out the feelers. Hopefully somebody will pick us up and distribute the film, probably not to theaters, realistically, more to streaming platforms.
Right.
What we're trying to do. And so fingers crossed, fingers and toes.
Well, it's interesting to me because I actually don't know of another documentary that exists that covers somebody who is trans and in the performance world. Is that something that you're hoping people will kind of open their eyes to to your reality? Is that?
That is really, I was just thinking, let's record something so that if I die, we'll have a record of it. But I think the real answer, that's a question for the filmmaker.
Yeah.
Who has probably hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours of footage, and put it together in this way, which I think I've obviously seen the film.
Yeah.
I think it's done great. I think it's done in a great way. It tells a story, and I think it's really honest. Some of the feedback that I heard at some of the screenings is that there's so much about me that people didn't know that they learned watching the film. And so I think in that regard, it has the potential to humanize me as a trans person. So that is great. I think, intentionally, when it came to like my mission, I do want people to see and understand the trans experience as something that's not like foreign or weird or strange.
Yeah.
And so I certainly think the film can help with that.
Yeah.
That wasn't necessarily my mission when we got into it. Of course, it's mostly about like my drag performances.
Right.
But then, you can't, it's unavoidable at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I love that. I love that it actually, it sheds a light onto a life, your life, that just makes it normal, right? It makes it very you, right? And so I feel like there's an opportunity here that it could be one of those like pieces maybe 10 years from now that people will be like, wow, that was a big deal.
What the biggest surprise to me is that, this is my opinion after seeing the film, because, the experience of like, obviously I was there filming it and then watching it back is very different, you know what I mean? But it really is kind of a critique, I think, on capitalism as well, which is a strange, thing.
Money, here we go.
But, because we're seeing me sort of in the throes of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yes.
Suddenly I have access to all these different opportunities to perform and having to choose between, or sort of struggle with or deal with like the upgrade.
Yeah.
And suddenly that comes with a staff.
Yeah.
And now I'm worried about like not just me paying my bill, but now I got to pay 7 people's bill.
Yeah.
And so like that is, and then my frustration with like professional theater was probably palpable.
Yeah. Because that was happening when you were, you got that. Because that was happening while you were doing Head Over Heels as well, right? And that was, first of all, that show, I saw it 3 times. I fucking loved it.
Did we not? I don't think we ran into each other.
I don't think so. Like, because I was friends with all the producers and the team, so I'd be kind of like,
stage door at all, or
no? I mean, I get, because like like the back end, we're like back end people. We're like in the house, and then we're bye, But it was such an incredible show. I actually think it was really ahead of its time, like in more ways than one. Like if it was up today, it would be like a major, like it would just be sold out, like a major hit.
I think it was ahead of its time because I remember we were in the same season, kind of like we came on at the end of the previous season, but we were still on when the prom was on. And people were going wild over the prom. Yeah. And I was like, there is a lesbian kiss at the end of that show. Yeah. And this show has honestly, for me at the time, it was like the queerest thing I'd ever experienced on Broadway at that time. Yeah. And it was like covering, maybe it was trying to do too much. It was like covering all types of inclusivity. Yeah. And it was like wokey, woke. Yeah. It was very woke.
Yeah. But funny and fun. Like, and it didn't even like.
God. Yeah. It was just like so silly and I loved it. I thought it was so well done and put together. And I just really appreciated it and fell in love with the cast and the people behind the scenes, and it was great.
It's so interesting because like I remember there was some controversy around the review that came out with Ben Brantley. Talk about that. Like this is some tea. There was some hot tea. Like what happened with that? There was like,
darling, let's get into it, darling. I had no idea who this mother sucker was. Because I was brand new to the Broadway world. I went to...
Thank you.
I went to school and studied musical theater.
Yeah. But I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I went to AMDA. That's a whole nother... But I hadn't really worked on Broadway. Obviously, that's my first show. So I wasn't really aware of everything that came along with being in a Broadway show.
Right.
And so the reviews are coming out. And I just think that, our show, it came out in 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2018. And we closed in 2019. And that was the lead up to, like, it was almost at the intersection of Me Too, Black Lives Matter, body positivity, almost COVID.
Yeah.
We obviously couldn't predict that.
Yeah.
But just like what we saw play out during COVID with people being, it wasn't just Black Lives Matter, but there were so many opportunities for people to really engage with their activism during that year.
Yeah.
That was all a byproduct of the few years beforehand.
Right.
And so we were in the middle of that.
Yeah.
And so I think he just thought he was going to be sassy old, I'm going to say whatever I want about people. And I remember he had said something really unsavory about Shoshana Bean, like 2 weeks before, about her body.
Yeah.
And that was the review. And I was like, she's not doing a strip show. It's not a, like a burlesque performance.
Right.
She's getting up there and singing and acting. And you're talking about her body.
Yep.
And so I remember that. And then I was like, oh, this is that mother loco. Okay. And so I was ready to pick up the phone and read him. I didn't have to. Because the RuPaul's Drag Race fandom dragged him. You think that someone who's at the pinnacle of their station as a reviewer, who's reviewed so many shows, could really give a layered nuance. Even if you're going to read us for filth and pan the show, you should be able to do it on the merits of just the qualities of the show, not someone's gender expression.
Yeah.
Especially since not only was I there was a historic moment in me being in the show as a trans person, but there was also an historic aspect of the character being non-binary.
Yeah.
And so, like, don't throw that in the trash.
Yeah. That was the role.
Tell us who you're voting for without telling us who you're voting for.
Well, now there's a new lead critic who is a woman, Helen Shaw. So that will be an interesting, like a whole new world of having this.
Hopefully, bye, bitch. If the shows are gonna update, then so should the economy around the shows.
Yep.
Don't be trying to have like brand new shows with new topics with the same old people who don't understand the topic.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a lot of playing with gender and non-binary roles and roles switching.
Mm-hmm.
And drag is like, again, you were the first, but it's now becoming kind of like
darling. Thank goodness. I'm grateful.
Yeah.
And I do think that it's followed sort of a trend or not even a trend, a wave that I think is much needed and deserved.
Yeah.
Not only in just in entertainment.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of RuPaul's Drag Race people being featured, girls from RuPaul's Drag Race, and then also trans folks and trans folks from RuPaul's Drag Race being featured in many different types of projects, Broadway, film and television, things like that. And so also other reality TV shows and things like that. And so I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's
well, I'm curious then, and not obviously not no disrespect to the actors that have played these roles, but what is your thought on the kind of issues that came with roles like Tootsie, right, and Mrs. Doubtfire, where the man essentially goes into drag to create essentially a role?
I was so confused by Tootsie, especially with the way that it was adapted for Broadway, because it was certainly when trans was like bubbling up as an issue, a controversial topic. Certainly when Donald Trump had his first presidency, there was a lot of controversy. Caitlyn Jenner had just gotten named Woman of the Year or whatever, and then that was like a catalyst for people like complaining and talking about trans in the bathroom. And that was the first big anti-trans legislative push was in 2016 to keep trans people out of bathrooms. And the state that was like in the target of that was North Carolina. And at the time, they were basically trying to pass this policy at the state level to ban trans people from using the bathroom of the gender that aligns with them. Instead, they were trying to force trans people to use the bathroom that coordinates with the sex assigned at birth. And so that was a huge topic. Should trans people be able to use the bathroom? Should they? Which one should they use? Blah, 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 blah. And there was a lot of support for the trans community at the time. So much so that the NBA said, we're going to pull out of whatever they were getting ready to build something or move a team there or something to North Carolina. They said, we're not going to do that if you continue with this policy. So they stopped the policy, but the conversation continued. And I remember in every interview that Trump was doing, a lot of interviews, which he always does, but of course, campaigning, they were like, so if Caitlyn Jenner came into Trump Tower, which bathroom should she use? And at the time, Trump was like, she can use whatever bathroom she wants to use. Like, that's where we were.
Yeah.
But obviously the tide was starting to shift in that moment.
Yeah.
So I remember it might have been the same month that all that was happening.
Yeah.
And then here's Tootsie. I went to one of the early shows, and shout out to my girl, Sarah Stiles, who was in the show.
Love Sarah.
But it felt a little like, y'all were not psychic. You didn't know that this moment was going to come, but it's here, and it doesn't fit with what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm a straight white man. I can't get a job. Let me dress up like a woman. And it's not even like convincingly a woman. It's like, I think how that reads to a lot of people is trans. That's what they're taking out of it, even though that's not a trans character.
Right.
But that's what people call trans women, is men in dresses to get an advantage.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, how it read to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it felt a little, I don't know, tone deaf is the word we would use, but it just felt like, gosh, it's not easier for us. We're not getting jobs. We're being excluded from places. And so, like, if you're going to tell our story, let's really tell it.
Yeah.
And so that was how I felt about Tootsie. I thought the performances were great.
Oh, great. Yeah.
But I felt like that. Then Mrs. Doubtfire, I was like, can we please, with the men doing this, like, can we do
the men? Can we please with the men? Oh. So if you could do this, right? If you could dragify a show or a classic musical, what would you do? Like
all of them, darling. I want drag. Let's turn the tables. Let's have you sit out and not be able to get a role. Let's have drag queens. You must be in drag for everything. How about that, huh? I would love to see a drag entertainer in one of the roles in Death Becomes Her.
Oh my God. Wait, can you? Oh my God, we have to do that. Like, can we actually make this happen? Like, send this to Lo.
I already have my costume. I got my costume ready, honey.
Oh my God, which role would you do? I mean, which one?
Who do you think?
Hell, no.
No, I mean, I would do anything, but I mean, listen, I don't think I'd have to pry this out of Michelle's cold dead hand.
Yeah.
Because she's not leaving that show. But I could see a drag queen playing that role.
That is
quite
so
clearly.
That's a really good idea. You have to do this. I think they're watching.
I might go and tie Michelle up in the dressing room debut tonight, honey. Darling, TikTok.
That's a really good idea, actually. Like, seriously, I'm gonna text.
I mean, the wardrobe alone dictates it.
Oh yeah,
it really does.
It's so good. I love that show. I love that show. What does drag allow you to express that traditional theater sometimes doesn't?
Anything you want.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you'll be more successful. I think if you can match the energy of the crowd.
Yeah.
And know your audience, which changes all the time.
Okay.
Depending on the job or the venue or the day of the week.
Yeah.
But drag certainly presented and presents a freedom. I remember feeling just so free because I was able to, it was me. I was in charge of what I was going to do, what I was going to wear, how I was going to act, what I was going to say. And, and it was just me and the audience.
Yeah.
That was the only relationship that mattered. And as long as they were happy, then the owners were happy, the people, everybody was happy.
Yeah.
You know?
When did you discover drag? When were you like, when was the moment it kind of clicked for you? Or was it always you? Like, was that something that you always felt connected to? Or?
I mean, I was doing drag before I was doing drag, for sure. I think my first time, I guess the first time that I was in drag in public was probably in high school or something. We had something called the homely court.
Okay.
How dare they? Where everybody had to cross dress. Oh no, your tickets. Everybody had a cross dress.
Yeah.
And not everyone. The football players and the cheerleaders cross dress. And I was a cheerleader. And so I was captain of the cheerleading, but I wasn't captain of the football season. I was captain of the basketball cheerleading squad.
Okay.
Anyway, so the football players and the cheerleaders cross-dressed. And so I was like, heck yeah, honey, I'm gonna do it. And I also was in drama, of course.
Of course.
And so I had access to the finest Goodwill wardrobe closet.
The costumes must have
and
been.
so I had fur, vintage not recycled, but vintage repurposed fur. And I had my little dress on and heels that obviously did not fit.
Yep.
A cheap blonde wig. But honestly, I looked like $1 million because all those football players were coming in like granny's moo-moo. Yeah. And just like
bad drag.
Like they're like, oh, you got dressed 5 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Bitch, I was working on this 4 months ago. You know what I mean? So, and people were like, oh, even my bullies were like, the bullies were like, girl,
my bullies.
They were. And I won. I won, darling. I won.
This is amazing. But the bullies, man, I bullied.
Yeah.
People don't understand how it makes you like.
It really does. In the 90s, woo!
I got bullied so much. Oh my God. They'd come for me. They'd be like, what are you, gay? And I would always I would never say no. I'd just be like, only on Labor Day or something.
And they had no sense of humor. Yeah, they didn't know what to do.
Know what to do. They're like, what? How do you build a character when you're creating a new drag number? Is it closer to acting, directing, or choreography?
It's probably closer to choreography. I think with drag, it starts with the physicality. For me, it starts with the physicality, with the costuming and the, obviously I have a think on something. Yeah. And for me, it's always the same sort of character. It is just a more heightened version of me. Yeah. And so, there are certainly other drag artists that I know and actors that I know that perform in drag that have a different character for every number they're going to do. Yeah. For me, it's the same one. Because for me, honestly, drag was my access to presenting femme and being perceived female and femme without being chastised. I mean, the bullies were like, girl, get it. Here, take my money. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, this works. Wow. If I weren't in drag, then it would be a different situation. Yeah. And so that was that. Obviously, it was rubbing up against my transness, and I was trying to figure out a way to access my transness before I was able to really do anything about transitioning. Right. So that being said, when I'm approaching a number or something like that, it really is about what I'm trying to say and who I'm talking to. Yeah. But it starts with the physicality first, and then I can kind of work everything else in. Yeah. But it definitely involves all three, especially because after going to acting school, my drag numbers took on a whole new life. Honey, people were like, oh, snap. Meisner. People were crying after a dance number. I was like,
you brought that character.
I did, honey. They're like, oh, you felt that. I felt that. We'd all felt that.
It's so funny watching. I mean, we've known each other for a really long time, and I remember seeing your shows at Barracuda back in the early 2000s or something. Yeah. So my question to you though is that I remember drag then being you were always so good at it, and your performances were always so much better than anybody else's. But I do remember the thing that I missed was the sort of provincial aspect of the other drag. And it feels like now everything is there is not that level of it's almost like too polished, and everyone. Do you feel that way? Like there's a grit that's gone.
100%. And of course, again, I hope that it's also the venue, like where the show is.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing a lot more drag in a lot more spaces, especially corporate spaces. And so in those situations, it's bound to be more polished, hopefully.
Yeah.
But I agree. I remember, I always wanted to be super professional with my shows.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring an air of professionalism that you might expect in a theater show in my drag shows. But honey, we were like sitting around. My titty would come out. Yes, we were, doing things flying out of here. I was in a long line of queens that got electrocuted at Barracuda.
God, that's right.
It was like this. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
and it's real. Yeah. And it's raw. And it's not corporate.
Nope.
And it's not that polished. And sometimes we have to stop the show. Well, honey, one day the electricity went out, and we just sat there, and I kept talking, with no microphone, and we're just talking, So like that is just very real.
Yeah.
And I think that certainly RuPaul's Drag Race had a lot to do with the polishing of the girls.
Yeah.
I think the girls wanted to, I remember watching the first several seasons of Drag Race. The girls would be rough in the beginning of the season, and then they would elevate. And then when they would come either for the reunion or eventually maybe on All Stars, then there's like a glow up.
Yeah.
But I think around season 9 is when we all started feeling the pressure to kind of look the way that the All Stars girls looked on our first season.
Yes.
And honey, everybody was spending 20, 30, 40, 50, $100 something thousand to bring their drag.
Yeah.
And not getting paid.
Yeah. I don't think people know that though. Like that's the thing that I've heard from many other queens who've done the show, that they're like, just the level on that first day is so high and so much expectation that you have to have multiple wigs, multiple looks, multiple things, and the money doesn't even equal the.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And it's not even guaranteed that you'll be on the show that long.
Yeah.
If you get eliminated, then there's that.
Yeah.
And so, that's a big struggle for sure. And I think that preemptively the girls, the drag performers that want to get on Drag Race, I think they feel as though, well, let me already sort of live my life as though I'm on the show.
Yeah.
Which means hyper polished looking things. Like, you don't know if they've been on the show or not.
Yeah.
And then I think that the hope is like, people are like, oh, you look like you should be on the show.
Yeah.
And they just go on the show.
But I remember too, like I would consider you one of the ones pre RuPaul's Drag Race that were essentially almost, and I know it's almost like inevitable that you would have to go on RuPaul's Drag Race. But I remember even having a conversation with you, I think somewhere, being like, oh, nobody really wanted to do it. It's just because you got rolled into doing it, right?
I resisted for so long.
Yeah.
Because, during the first several years of the show, I mean, listen, they came to my show at Barracuda and asked me if I wanted to just be on the show. Season 1.
On season 1, that's right. And you said no.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what kind of Jerry Springer thing is this going to be? I didn't know. Because the only time they were featuring either drag queens or trans folks or anything like that was like when you're going to get humiliated.
They didn't even buy the rights to the music then.
Yeah, I was like, and none of us had ever seen it. Obviously, we hadn't seen season 1. And so I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And they were like, I'm a producer we're doing this new show. It's RuPaul's Drag Race. It has RuPaul. They weren't calling it RuPaul's. They were just like, it's a reality show.
Yeah.
And RuPaul is the head of it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I'm working. How much is it paying? Oh, it's not really, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You might win. I was like, no, I have a job. And by that time, I was traveling the world. I was getting paid more than I was getting paid in New York to travel internationally. I was bringing dancers on the road with me.
That's
had
right.
Music.
Yeah.
I was featured on the Logo channel.
Yeah.
And I had music out, all this stuff. And so I felt like I was very successful for, especially considering I just thought I was going to be working in a dingy bar for, a couple of nights a week. And here I am traveling the world. And so I was like, oh no, and the prize, mind you, the first few seasons was $20,000 or something.
Yeah.
And you get to travel around the country on the Absolute Pride tour.
Right.
I'm traveling my own thing.
Got my own tour.
Yeah.
So when did it come to the fact that you were like, okay, we gotta go back?
That's in A Deeper Love, the documentary.
Yes. Tune in.
It is basically when it became, as the show became more popular.
Yeah.
Which was probably, I'd say, like, it really like got in its groove after season 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they invested, and it just really, you could tell it's like, they upgraded this.
Yeah.
And so around that time, season 6, 7, 8 is when it started to become more clear that the show was becoming major. And at the time, this is the thing, like at the time, like around between 2005 and I'd say 2010, the appearances inside the nightclubs, not even the girls from Drag Race weren't even getting booked in the nightclubs. It was, you're going to go with Absolute, and Absolute's going to take you to whatever show they arrange as a result of winning Drag Race.
Okay.
So if you're going to some Absolute show, then you'll see a Drag Race girl there. But if not, you're not. If you're going to a gay bar, a nightclub, you're not going to see them.
Yeah.
You'll see the local queens, and you'll see, Snooki, Tan Mom, whatever, because that's who they were paying. Snooki. They were paying Tan Mom.
Yeah.
$14,000 to come get drunk on the thing.
Yeah.
And that's who they were hiring. The cast of Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
To come to the gay bar for Pride. And it's like, what's going on? So then I think, obviously, suddenly the queer community, we had our own celebrities.
Yeah.
And then people were getting booked. And then it became a guarantee that you're going to tour the country, not even some Absolute tour. You're just going to go to every gay bar in the country.
Yeah.
After doing Drag Race. And that's what ended up happening.
Yeah. And what's kind of fascinating for you is that you ended up really doing a lot of like competitive reality shows after that. Wait, I mean, the Traitors. First of all, you were like second season, right, of Traitors? Season 2, which is really when it kind of
in the U.S. season. Yeah, it's of America. It was season 3 of the UK by that time, and then it's season 2 of Australia, and they also had New Zealand and like all these other things. But I was
now
early.
It's like Traitors is like
everybody
wants to be on Traitors. But
Traitors just won a GLAAD award, and
oh my
I'm
God,
like, can I cuss?
Yeah.
Fuck you, GLAAD, and I'm on the board for honoring Traitors. But I get it.
Well, it's weird. Like, I want to ask about that too, because that was very crazy how that was handled. Way that
they're trying to. I think they were trying to like Mandela affect it or something, where like what really happened is what people don't remember happened, and then it just looks like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But no, this show, I think reality competition, TV in general, has some work to do with regards to LGBTQ plus representation and diversity across the board. Because they do the classic, we have, one of every group on the show. And when you're in a very cutthroat situation like the Traitors, where it's not even like the judges decide and then eliminate, it's like your peers are murdering you, and so like that just feels more. That's not like you got eliminated because you couldn't make the biscuit. Yeah. Like you're getting killed by.
Wait, you need to do the Great British Bake Off. You need to do that.
Yeah. Maybe I should.
You really should.
Because when you go across the country and get people from across the country to come in the room, then you're bringing white supremacy into the room. You're bringing transphobia into the room. You're bringing, misogyny into the room.
Yeah.
And that's what's there. And that's what's voting.
Yeah.
And so it does make me think, oh, this is winning a GLAAD award. Now listen, the gays love the show.
Yeah. Yeah, they love it.
The show.
Yeah. because all
but
the
it's
drama
not of representation,
right.
you know, unless you're representing how to kill the only Black trans woman on the show.
The first one, like I'd never seen the show. I saw it because of you, and I was like, get the fuck out of here! Like, is this really happening right now?
And I gotta tell you, it felt like that.
Yeah,
it felt like that.
Yeah,
now, nobody was like saying the N-word or anything.
Yeah,
but it felt really like, you know, I'm Black and trans.
Yeah.
And so I was dealing with that. And being a Black femme, a Black woman who's trans, my reactions are charted differently.
Yeah.
What I'm allowed, how I'm allowed to react or respond is measured and limited. I can't respond as I naturally would. If somebody harmed you or hurt you or offended you or said something, the expectation is to react the same exact way that Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan reacted when the N-word was screamed out. And you just have to just grin and smile.
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
Yeah.
And so it felt like that. And it was really difficult, but it was like 20-something people around me ganging up on me.
Yeah.
With the exception of 2 or 3. Maxim was fantastic.
Yeah.
Deontay was fantastic. Johnny Bananas was great, but he got killed before me.
Yeah, he was.
And I was like, this is stupid. Y'all are don't know how to play this game. And I knew that because while we were there, and granted, it's a while to film the show.
Yeah.
And even though I didn't last throughout the whole season, I was actually there for most of the time because the bulk of the time that we were there, at least in my season, was filming things like, you know, promotional stuff and promo pictures. So we were all there for most of it. And then once you get through the first week or so, then it takes off like lightning. The eliminations happen like more than one a day, things like that. But for that first period of time, everybody was there. And I remember sitting around people and they were like, I never saw this show. I don't know what to do with it. And granted, it was only season 2.
Yeah.
But nobody knew how to play the game. And so they were treating it like they were treating their own shows, like Survivor and all those other things, where they're just like, I'm just going to be cutthroat and I'm going to be shady to everybody. And there was no notion of wanting to build alliances or actually figuring out a murder mystery. Like they had no idea what they were there for. And I did, because I'd seen every episode of every season of everything. And so I was quite disappointed. I want another chance, but I do want it to be in an atmosphere that's like, it doesn't have to be, you don't need to build in automatic drama by having 1 Black person and 55 white people.
Yeah.
Like it is possible to mix it up a little more. I mean, on the season 1, they had 2 out LGBT people, both of color, for 19 contestants, I think, or maybe it was 20 contestants. Season 2, we have 22 contestants and 1 out LGBT person who was a person of color.
You were the only one on the show.
The only one.
That is.
Besides Alan Cumming, who's the host, competing.
Yeah.
The only one.
Yeah.
Now, Parvati came out, didn't even come out. Parvati ended up dating someone, Mae Martin.
Yeah.
Later on.
Yeah.
After the show was filmed. So during the promo, people were like, ooh, who's Parvati dating? And so it felt like more queerness was being represented just because Parvati is dating someone.
Yeah.
And then she happened to be on the show. But honey, there was no... I even like went up and tried to broker a deal between she and Sandra, who were mortal enemies from Survivor. If Parvati could have been like, bitch, me too.
Yeah.
None of that. I was alone. And it was brutal. Trishelle was, you know, the mastermind of my favorite. This is my favorite.
What is this?
Aqua Aura.
So beautiful.
Crystal.
It's you.
Anyway, Trishelle was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Really competitive. She ended up being the winner, which made it really difficult to talk about my experience throughout the entire season, because the network was being very protective of their soon-to-be winner, who obviously they knew who the winner was going to be.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to go back and look at Trishelle's reality show history. And there's a pattern of, you know, arguments, which is normal for reality TV,
Yeah.
but they're all with queer women of color.
Wow. Oh, she's coming for you. I'm with you. Like I was watching that, and again, I'd never seen the show, and I was just like, it's a great idea, but like the fact that happened was just.
Could you imagine if they put like 3 or 4 Drag Race queens on there?
Oh, it would be amazing. They should do it all queer
They
version.
should do an all queer version.
An all queer version.
Come on, Studio Lambert. Come on.
All queer version
You
of the
can
Traitors.
do it.
We're going to play a game called Cast That Queen. We're going to pair 7 queens with 7 iconic classic musical theater roles.
Okay.
And you're the casting director, okay?
Okay.
So here we go. We're going to start right away. You have the roles.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to name a queen and you're going to cast them. Cast that queen. Shea Coulee.
Mrs. Hannigan.
Miss-
I think she'd be actually a good Mrs. Hannigan. Now, I think a Jinx Monsoon would be a great Mrs. Hannigan, but that's kind of like...
You'd get
it's too
that.
easy.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So Miss Hannigan. Okay, great. Next up, Sasha Velour.
Oh my gosh.
Who are you gonna cast?
Obviously, Sunset Boulevard.
Norma Desmond.
Yep.
That is
Mhm. That's
that is
pretty great.
amazing. That's amazing. Okay, great. Cast that queen, Michelle Visage.
Michelle.
Michelle
Uh,
Visage.
I do see Michelle giving a really in-depth
Mama Rose.
I really do.
She basically
I
is
really
Mama
do.
Rose.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, great. Next up, RuPaul.
Okay, it'd be kind of dumb, but Dolly.
Dolly Levi. Actually, that would sell some tickets.
It would definitely sell some tickets. It would sell some tickets.
Okay. Monet Exchange.
Oh.
3 roles left.
Elwood.
Elwoods.
Yeah. Monet's gonna get Elwoods.
Oh my God. Oh my God, you guys. And Bob the Drag Queen.
I'm gonna do Roxy Hart.
Yes.
The drag queen.
Actually, that makes no sense and I love it. Like that's the thing that I'm here for. Okay. And finally, Jinx Monsoon. Mrs. Lovett is literally
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That is perfect casting.
Yeah.
Like,
All right.
we got to see this. Well done, casting director.
Yay.
What did you think of Tyra Banks' apology, and especially being in the public eye and being in the public eye for a while? What do you think about that, especially when dealing with past mistakes and what the time was back then and her apology? Like, I'm curious.
Well, first, I think the documentary was great. It's very engaging and entertaining and eye-opening for sure.
Yeah.
I think to a lot of people. I think for the first half of the documentary, it felt like a bit of a love letter to the show. The first half of it, or the first couple episodes, then it started to get like, we're going to really tell you, when the girls started talking.
Yeah.
And I think Tyra Banks' apology in written form, I mean, could have been fine,
Yeah.
but ultimately, what I sensed from the very beginning, of what I felt from the very beginning, was that she just wasn't being authentic. She wasn't being just like, this is me, and I'm just going to talk what it is. Everything, I think she still felt as though there was a lot at stake. And that the Tyra Banks that was making the show back then
Yeah.
had the show at stake. But now I think she feels like her reputation and whatever venture she's going to go into next is at stake. And so I think that she had a choice to give us like the real raw, I don't give a hell, this is what it is, this is what it was. Or I'm going to give you the prim and proper,
Right.
poised Tyra. And that's how it came off to me, which doesn't allow vulnerability. It doesn't allow a lot of ability to sort of like make amends.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you're really apologizing and you really want to make amends, you have to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Or it comes off as inauthentic.
Yeah.
And that's how it came off to me. And I think that maybe that's a byproduct of, not to make excuses, but I think that maybe that is the behavior that Tyra learned throughout her years as a 14, 15-year-old in Paris by herself as one of the only Black models around.
Yeah.
Also, apparently not really getting much love from like Naomi and any of the other girls. And so, you know, I can understand how someone would get into that situation. It's a real shame that I can understand how someone could get into that situation, but I also know that there's work that can be done to get out of it. And it's a shame that it doesn't appear that that work was done.
Yeah.
I know that reality TV, you know, it's not what you're looking at. It's not the show. Project Runway is not a sewing and design show. You know, Top Model is not a modeling show. Drag Race is not a drag show. It's a reality competition that happens to be using drag to compete in the moment. Yeah. You know, if they're like, here's a reality competition show, here's some cookies and muffins. Yeah. Do run with that. Then that's a cookie and then they'll call it the cookie muffin show, but that's not really what's happening. Right. Because you have to figure there's people that are there. They want their 15 minutes of fame. Yeah. They're going to do whatever they have to do. They'll be cutthroat. They'll be nasty. They'll say whatever they have to say on camera. The producers kind of subconsciously, but maybe not so much anymore, know who to pick up and how to play. You know, why are you alone in the room with the one person that you said you would hate? That's not a coincidence, darling. It's the show. That doesn't happen in a modeling. You know what I mean? They could, but I mean, they don't they don't intentionally do it. Yeah. You know? And so that is what reality TV ends up being. And you know, to Tyra's, she did say that back in the day, every show was trying to outdo each other. Yeah. So I get that, but it just, you know, from today's lens, girl, excuses are excuses. I harmed you. I contributed to that. And when there's harm, you just say, I'm sorry if you mean it. And I acknowledge that you were harmed. End of story. Yeah. That's it. I was on Top Model.
What? Wait.
How dare you doubting me?
Oh my God. Tell me about this. I've been
on every show that has ever existed.
Tell me.
I've been on Top Model to CSI to Ugly Betty to what do you name it? I was there. They called me and asked me. I don't remember how it happened, but they asked me to come down and be Tyra Banks, the drag version of Tyra Banks, for the show. And I was like, well, okay, whatever, this is fine, and I'll go. And honey, it was a nightmare. Some gay was like, what are you gonna wear? And I was like, I'm gonna wear whatever I want to wear. And they were like, well, Tyra's wearing a lot of, which I get it in hindsight. They really wanted me to just look like Tyra. Tyra is wearing a lot of, you know, jumpers and like coveralls. Okay. And I'm like, bitch, I'm not dressing like I'm working in an airport or in jail. I'm going to wear something that makes me feel dainty and petite and sexy. Yes. Not some garbage, man. Sanitation, I respect you. We need it. We need you. But that's not the outfit I'm trying to wear. And they were like, no, Tyra wears these oversized things that are pants, arms, and zipped up. That's what she's wearing with pockets. I'm like, no, honey. Nope. No, not me.
And so you did.
I wore what I wore, my little titty outfit. Okay. And wore my little skirt. And walked up in there, and they handed me some cards, and I had to announce, in my hand, I have 2 girls' photos. And I had to do that. And the girls, of course, and this is one of the things that was confirmed in the documentary, is that the girls get eliminated, but they stay. Okay. And so I think that's because the show was definitely hit by then. They didn't want people to know who got eliminated or not. So they kept everyone around, even for the challenges. They're not on camera, but they're like, they are. Yes. Participants. So you can't tell who. I was like, is it one group, another group? But I basically had to get the girls to do runway, and they thought it was going to be elimination, but it wasn't an elimination. It was just a party, basically. And then we did runway just to have drag on the show. Yeah. You know, that was all they wanted to do.
We just check a box.
Yeah. Whatever. This was post Drag Race. Like they'd already. It's 2008.
Yeah, I think it was right. There wasn't that much of a crossover.
It was around the same time. So the feeling, the vibe, the appetite for drag was there.
Yeah. 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 I've always the length that I've known you, you've always been really confident. Have you always been confident? Like, is it something like Lil Peppermint was like, yeah, like?
I think I was.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I still do get shy in certain situations.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not like trying to go out by myself to like a nightclub and like try to make friends at a nightclub. You know what I mean?
No.
But in most situations, I'm usually pretty good. And I think, yeah, like I always knew who I was.
Yeah.
And if you know who you are, then I know like there's nothing's at stake. I'm not going to lose anything.
Yep.
I may not gain anything. This is just me.
Yep.
And so like, I think I had self-awareness, which probably comes off as confidence to people. Because when I'm not focused on that, then I'm focused on you.
Yeah.
And being interested in knowing who you are or whatever you have, you know, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And so that's usually where I'm focused. My energy is focused on other people because I'm already done.
The latest thing in language that I'm like, okay, is everyone's like, yes, mother. I'm curious, like, have you ever wanted to be a mother?
That's a deep question. Wow.
Yes, mother.
Oh my God, I'm gonna grow up. No,
Okay.
I didn't, but and I think it might have been half and half. Half because I'm a queer woman.
Yeah.
I'm not partnered. I can't bear children,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not really interested in the traditional ways of, you know, physically, bearing a child. I'm single. I'm in New York. I got a small place. Like all the reasons why you're not going to be having no kids.
Yeah.
And I felt that same way about drag children as well. Like, you know, having a drag daughter.
Yeah.
I didn't want them.
Yeah.
I was like, darling, I'm the young one.
Yes. That's right.
But then I eventually did birth some drag children, especially after doing Call Me Mother, which was a drag reality TV show that I was a judge on.
Oh.
And I had a house of dulcet with my house.
Okay.
Which means like sweet or candy.
Yes.
And I had my kids and I care about them. And some of them have gone on to do Drag Race and other things. And I think they're fantastic. I love them. And in terms of like having like my own offspring, I didn't never think about that until, this is strange, until Roe v. Wade was overturned at the federal level. And I was doing, right before that was the same year, we were filming, because I feel like that was 2023, 2022. And I was filming a show that I was on called Harlem. And we were in the second season, and there was a beautifully written scene between myself and my character's cousin, who's one of the leads on the show, Ty.
Yeah.
Who's a Black lesbian. And so here we are, these two queer women, one trans, one gay, reminiscing about our grandma who had just passed. We're going over the grandma's thing, you know, trinkets and things, like all that stuff, her memorabilia, and having a conversation about like, how do we continue our family legacy? Do we have kids? Can we have kids? It's the 2000, it's, you know, the new millennium, whatever we can, it's possible. You know, do you need a man to do that? Can we do that on our own? You know, this whole question about that, or this whole conversation was a really beautiful conversation. And that got me thinking about that. And I do think that I would be, I mean, I care about people in general, so I think I'd be a good parent.
You'd be a great parent.
But I don't really like kids. So I don't want to see, you know, but then but things I don't like gravitate towards me.
Yeah.
They run to me. And I don't understand. Dogs.
The dogs. Brooks are right to you. Like, she's like, Peppermint doesn't like dogs.
Kids are
more
like
of a cat person, but the dog went right up to Peppermint.
Yeah. Kids are like, hello.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where is your mother? So yeah, but I know that I would care for them and I would love them.
Yeah. That's
I
really
would like them, but I would love them, if that makes sense.
yeah. I just had always thought, I was like, like that thought, that the idea of like, oh, mother, and it's like, actually mother, like, it's, okay, we're gonna play a game called Sip or Spill. The idea here is that you'll answer the question or sip the tea. You have 30 seconds to answer. Who was the most difficult person to be around during your season of Drag Race?
I'm gonna spill. I really wanted to be of service to Nina Bonina Brown. She didn't seem happy. Didn't seem like she was enjoying herself a lot of the time, and for good reason at other times. We all hated it at certain times, but and so I wanted to help her with that, and I couldn't. I was like, let me just keep my distance because I don't know how to connect.
Yeah.
So that was the hardest.
That was difficult. Okay. Which Broadway role would absolutely be improved with a little more drag energy?
Death Becomes Her.
Death Becomes Her.
Yes.
Which fellow Drag Race star would you love to see on Broadway?
Tammy Brown.
Oh.
Tammy Brown is such a card because she would not follow the script, and I respect that. I like a rebel.
Sip or spill? Which would you more likely do? Another season of The Traitors or Drag Race All-Stars?
Oh.
Who is your... the way you sit. Who is your dream stage collaborator, alive or dead?
Prince.
Ah, yes. Yes, that is the correct answer. Sip or spill, what's your dream role?
I don't think
Okay. Sip or spill, what's the origin story of your name?
I was sitting in a car with a guy that I had a crush on
Okay.
in the parking lot of 7-Eleven, as one does in Delaware. I had a mouthful of peppermints. I was hoping I'd have a mouthful of something else. He was like, you eat a lot of peppermints. I was like, yes, I do. He was like, well, you should just call yourself Peppermint. And I was like, okay. I would have done anything he said.
Okay, sip or spill, what do you think of cancel culture?
I think it's a ruse. Cancel culture is basically just the comments. The public can't really just cancel you just with their speech alone. People can boycott. People can communicate with each other and do something different. But, nobody's really been canceled. And it seems like most of the people that would be canceled, they basically say, comedy's dying. I hate cancel culture. I miss the days when we could use the N-word and people would laugh. That's basically the story of cancel culture.
Yep. Okay, sip or spill, would you like to give a response to Bob the Drag Queen for stealing your song?
Wow.
She sips. Was your banishment from the Traitors unfair or just a part of the game? Oh, she sips.
I'm sipping so I can spill. You're wetting my palate, darling. It was unfair as hell. It was a part of the game. It was both. But I think that the methods and the tactics that were used were a little dirty. There were some lies thrown around saying that I physically touched somebody. Basically it was she tried to apologize. I was offended, so she ran and I ran out of the room and so to my bedroom, which we don't have bedrooms.
Oh.
At the castle.
Oh, okay. Weird.
They're never putting me back on that show again.
No.
And Trishelle, so she said, Peppermint ran to her room and I ran after her and then she pushed me away.
Yeah.
Bitch, I didn't touch you. I never even was with her.
Did you ever talk to her later?
Yes, at Pilot Pete's house. We spoke. It's cordial. my opinion doesn't change. And she felt it, she apologized. I could tell it was important for her to make amends.
Yeah.
And it was important for her to inform me that she was an LGBT ally. Thank you for the notification.
It is a tradition here on the show. I love brooches. I've always loved brooches, obviously. And I have a brooch for you. It is from my collection. And I saw this and I was like, this is so funny because like I very much like this felt like a representation of you. It is a unicorn brooch.
Oh my goodness.
She's also like an ebony unicorn.
Yes, an ebony enchantress.
Yes, and I just think you are such a unicorn. You are absolutely a beautiful unicorn trampsing around in Candyland, right?
That's right.
So that is for you.
I won't put a hole in this.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, but here it is there.
Oh, look at that.
So pretty. Wow, this is gorgeous.
Yes,
Thank you.
Of
That's
course.
gorgeous.
I'm sure you'll find a place for it. And now, steep thoughts.
My steep thought is, look, it's quite obvious, almost doesn't need to be said, that the world is going wild right now, that things are literally on fire, and that there are communities that are hurting, and everyone is overwhelmed with the way things are. I do think that an important thing to do is for each of us to rethink what the future could possibly look like, what the possibilities could be. I think the habit is for us to say, oh, we want to stop this one little instance that we're in, but let's go back to the way things were 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago. But I think that really just begets where we are now. And so I think we have to rethink our relationship to capital. The difficulty that I have are mostly in one of two categories. Feeling like there's not enough and that I'm in competition with other people who will also feel that way, or knowing that I don't have enough and I can't make it. And both of those things are byproducts of exploitation. We live with these systems, but we have to figure out a way to live within them that it doesn't do harm to ourselves or people in other countries as it's happening right now. If you start anywhere, start with reconnecting to other people by reading a book that's rearranged my approach to empathy. It's called Caste, The Origins of Our Discontent by Isabel Wilkerson. And it really put into perspective things like discrimination, things like the haves versus the have-nots, the hierarchy that human beings anywhere in the world, human beings organize themselves into. That's a caste system. It can be race, it can be gender, it can be class, whatever it is. Somebody's got to be, in order for somebody to be on the top, a bunch of people have to be on the bottom. And that's what we're experiencing now. You can't pay your bills if you're not sure if you're going to work, if you're not sure what the future holds, if you're all that, it's that. And we're entering into a wild phase where we have people that are more rich and powerful than they ever have been. And the more rich and powerful they get, the less they care about how you're going to eat tomorrow. And so we have to rethink our connection to those things and each other. That's my steep thought.
Well, Peppermint, thank you so much for having tea. And I'm voting for you for president. Peppermint for president. Thank you.